How many of you have heard that communication's a two-way street? Oh, come on, I know you guys have all heard that. Come on, hands up. Hands up. Okay, thank you. Got another question for you. How many of you have heard that without senior leadership buy-in, no change will ever occur within a company? That's a common one. Let me give you a little story. Tully's, local company. They've been around I don't know how many years now. Do you know they have a very hard time keeping senior leadership? Do you also know they've never turned a profit? Do you know what their business model is? And I mean this literally. We're going to open a store within 1 block of a Starbucks. That's a great business model. If that makes you happy, but they're not making a profit and they can't keep senior leadership. So if senior leadership buys into any change that that company is going to do, does it matter? Exactly. This is my favorite. How many of you have ever heard it's the marketing department's fault? Yeah, that's my favorite. There's variations of that. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? Let's assume that X is senior leadership. And let's assume that O is the market and all elements that come underneath that. Vendors, customers, the market, the local community. It's the market as a whole. That means that the 2 arrows are communication and experience, as well as your opportunity to influence perception. There's something missing. Oh, I know what it is. The employees. Forgot about them. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying that your employees control your brand. If anything, I'm saying they don't. What they do is they act as a filter. I'm seeing the puzzled looks. They act as a filter for interpreting what senior leadership has to say and what their vision for the company is and how it's going to go out to the market. They are a filter. Anything that goes along those lines is filtered and personally interpreted between various departments as well as individual employees. And that is when you see a brand come to life and a brand take on a life of its own. Everybody is very familiar with the whole Apple brand, right? Who here does not know of Apple, really? Apple has been given remarkable credit and praise for everything they've done with their marketing. Great, and I completely agree with that. They have some of the most amazing marketing. Let's step in. Let's go inside the company. They're also very smart, and the employees that they hire are also raving fans of the product. They actually have blinders on that they can't see anything but Apple. It can be a problem, but it works to their strength. It helps build their brand stronger. But senior leadership again. Steve Jobs left how many years ago? Company plummeted. Steve Jobs came back, Apple skyrocketed. Steve Jobs is about to leave again. What's going to happen to Apple? If tradition holds true and history holds true to repeat itself, then yes, that's the case. Hopefully they've put different systems and processes in place, and the brand is not completely dependent on Steve Jobs right now. I don't know. We'll find out. How many of you have or have worked for a large corporation, mid to large corporation? It's pretty much all of you. How many of you have ever worked, period? Oh, come on, guys. Play along here. Thank you. Okay. Those of you who have been involved with a large corporation, how often does middle management tell senior management the entire truth? I'm seeing a lot of head shaking. No. Okay. Now on the flip side, how often do employees believe everything, and I mean everything, no exceptions to the rule, that senior leadership says? Exactly. There's a lot of laughing around that because it's not. It's about trust. Again, that's where the filter comes into play. This ends up being like a game of whisper down the alley. What you say does not matter. Their perception is your reality. You do not have the power to force them to believe or perceive your brand as you wish them to, but you do have the ability to influence it. You have the ability to influence your employees to create and communicate and live the message. That is where those two arrows come into play.